December 27th, 10:00 a.m. District Court, Courtroom Number 3.
What it do? Welcome back to more Ace Attorney.
Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Miles Edgeworth.
Good morning, Your Honor. I happen to be wearing my lucky rocket ship underpants, so you know I'm ready.
Very well. Apparently, the prosecution is also ready.
Or asleep.
Mr. Von Karma, your opening statement. Very well. No opening statement, so...
Objection! Not so fast, Judge. I was taking a meaningful pause before speaking.
Right, of course.
A prediction. Today's trial will end 3 minutes from now.
I predict you're gonna be disappointed when this takes a lot longer.
Order! Order! Mr. Von Karma, what is the meaning of your statement just now?
Objection! Bah! Must you question everything? It will be over in 3 minutes. We have no time to waste. I'll call my witness now.
Right, of course.
I call my witness. My decisive witness. To the stand. Witness, state your profession.
I am the proprietor of the restaurant The Wet Noodle at Gourd Lake. And I, also rent boats.
The night of the incident, you were in the boat rental shop, correct?
Yep, I was.
Please testify.
Hold on. The witness hasn't even stated his name yet, Your Honor.
Objection! Because I did not ask him, Mr. Wright. Bah! I've predicted this trial will end in 3 minutes. Stop asking trivial questions and cooperate.
Right, Your Honor, we need to know who this guy is.
The witness will state his name.
Well, I'm not really sure.
What do you mean?
My, memory.
Your Honor, the witness does not remember anything beyond the last several years. Ergo, he cannot recall his own name.
He can't recall, you say?
Yes, but the incident in question took place 3 days ago. He can testify.
Very well. Let's hear his testimony then, shall we? Witness?
It was the night of the 24th, just after midnight. I was in the restaurant where I, rent boats as usual. Then I heard a bang! When I looked out the window, I saw a boat just a-floating on the lake. Then I heard another bang. Just about then, the boat comes back to my shore, and a man walks by my window.
Very well. I'd like to begin the cross-examination.
Objection! There is nothing to question in my witness's testimony. Ergo, no need for cross-examination. Besides, there are only 10 seconds left before our 3 minutes are up. Judge, your verdict, now!
Yes. Mr. Wright?
What are you saying? Of course I'll cross-examine the witness.
Very well, you may begin. Excuse me?
3 minutes just passed.
I see. Well then, let's just take our time. You may cross-examine the witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, there's something in your testimony I want to clear up. You said you saw a man walk past your window.
Right outside the window of my little shack.
And could you see the man's face?
Well, the fog was pretty darn thick, but he was right there in front of me.
This is a rather important detail. Please add it to your testimony.
That man was the defendant. He was saying, "I can't believe he's dead."
Hold it! Are you sure it was Edgeworth?
Dead certain, Keith. He said, "I can't believe he's dead," as he's walking by too.
That doesn't mean he's a murderer. Maybe he just watched the movie Logan.
Witness, are you sure the person you saw was Miles Edgeworth?
It was him! That Edgeworth boy!
This sounds like decisive evidence indeed. I see no room for doubt.
Nick, I don't like the way things are going here. Everyone in the courtroom is glaring at us.
I better act quick or this trial's gonna be over. We proved in court yesterday that it could not have been Edgeworth who fired that gun.
Objection, Mr. Wright. Are you referring to the fingerprints from Edgeworth's right hand found on the gun and the photograph showing a man firing with his left hand? That is easily explainable. He could have wiped his prints after he fired. You are ignoring the truth of the matter here. Everything in this witness's testimony is true.
Objection! We don't even know this witness's name. Your Honor, the witness claims that Edgeworth says I can't believe he's dead, but his word is all we have. If he's telling a lie, then...
Objection! Mr. Wright. In a court of law, the evidence tells all. Apparently, you have yet to realize even this basic fact. If you say this testimony is a lie, show us proof!
Well, the thing about that is...
Nick, do we have evidence?
It's no good. There's nothing I can do to prove that this guy isn't telling the truth. I mean...
Are you sure?
I wish Mia was here. To be honest, I don't know what to do anymore.
Please. Can you hear me, sis? Please.
3 minutes was perhaps too high an expectation. However, 15 minutes isn't bad. This must be a new record.
Enough. The witness may leave the stand. This court sees no reason to further prolong the trial, nor is there any need for more time to decide the case against the defendant. This case is extremely clear. I see no room for misinterpretation of the facts.
What? No!
This court finds the defendant, Mr. Miles Edgeworth, guilty. The accused will surrender to the court immediately, to be held pending trial at a higher court within a month from today's date. That is all. The court is adjourned.
Wait!
Who was that just now?
Me!
Nah, it couldn't be. That wouldn't make any sense. Larry!
What are you doing here?
Listen, you gotta listen to me. I was there in the park on the night of the murder. I just wasn't sure about it until yesterday. But today, I remembered it.
Remembered what?
The gunshot. I heard it too.
Order!
Objection! What is the meaning of this? The verdict has been decided. I call for adjournment.
One moment, Mr. Von Karma. So, you say you heard a gunshot?
Yeah, I did. A gunshot. That night, I was sitting here in the audience, listening to the testimony. Then I realized something he said was different from what I remember. Anyhow, I can't just sit here and let you call Edgy a murderer. It's just not right. I'll testify. Let me testify. I'll testify. Let me testify.
Order! Order! Well, this is the first time something has happened like this in my court. I'm not quite sure how to proceed.
Judge, you've already given your decision. The trial is over.
Nick, this is it. Larry's given us one final chance at this.
She's right. I've gotta make the most of this. Oh, if only it wasn't Larry. He could make things even worse.
Mr. Edgeworth was just declared guilty, Nick. It doesn't get any worse.
You're right, Maya. And please stop reading my thoughts, because there's some crazy stuff in there. Okay, Your Honor. If there's another witness, it's our duty to let him speak. Right here, right now.
A waste of time. The verdict cannot be overturned.
Allow me to speak my opinion. In all court proceedings, it is our duty to prevent an inaccurate verdict. In order to make sure no mistake has been made, every witness should be heard. I withdraw my previous verdict of guilty.
You're letting him go again? He's guilty!
Mr. Von Karma, I order you to call this new witness to testify, now.
What is this?
The court will adjourn for a 5-minute recess. After that, we will hear this new witness. Court is adjourned.
Let this be a lesson. Never give up. And also go to law school, because we get a lot of breaks. That was too close.
I've seen worse.
You mean when you look in the mirror? I kid because I care.
Larry was at the lake that night?
Yeah, remember? He went looking for the steel samurai balloon that flew in the lake.
Oh, right. And he found the balloon and the air tank that night. Mr. Edgeworth, there's something I've been meaning to ask you.
What's that?
Why are your fingerprints on the murder weapon?
When he fell into the lake, I went into a daze. I couldn't understand what had happened. I couldn't think straight. Then I saw the pistol lying on the floor of the boat in front of me. I picked it up without thinking. I didn't have a reason, really.
I see.
Right.
Edgeworth? Yeah?
This might be our chance.
Our chance?
Von Karma has only ever run perfect trials. Perfectly prepared witnesses. Perfectly complete evidence. That's the secret to his success. This is the first time he's ever had to deal with something unexpected. He has let someone he hasn't even talked to testify before the court. And that someone is Larry.
I gotcha, but explain it to Maya.
It's likely his testimony will be full of holes, right?
That's right, Nick. No 10-minute trial this time. We'll milk this one for all it's worth.
Hey, it was 15 minutes. 15! Everything depends on Larry now.
Court is now back in session. Witness, please testify to the court about everything you saw on the night of December 24th.
Right. Leave it to me.
Say what you will about this man on the witness stand, but I like Larry Butts and I cannot lie. Can't wait to hear him testify. Yeah, he's kind of a screw up, but he's got cool hair, and when you need a best friend, he's there. He's Larry.
That night, I was out on a boat in the lake. I was looking for something, and I found it. So I quietly slipped the boat back into the rental shop dock. And then just as I was thinking of going home, I heard this bang. I looked out over the lake, but I didn't notice a boat. So after I heard that single gunshot, I went home.
That was an unusually vague testimony, even for this court. That's saying something. In any matter, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
What's wrong, Nick?
It's Larry. I have no idea what he's gonna say if I press him. I'm a little scared.
Well, we've come this far. There's no way to go but forward, Nick.
But forward motion is harder than it sounds. Every time I gain some ground, I gotta turn myself around again. Now, Larry, something in your testimony doesn't add up. You said you only heard one bang? Are you sure about that?
That's what I said.
Well, the reason I ask is because Miss Lotta Hart testified yesterday that she heard 2 bangs, and the old man just now said the same thing. They both heard 2 gunshots that night.
Huh? I'm a witness, see? I'm like a customer here. So you gotta treat me all nice and stuff, okay?
This ain't Chick-fil-A.
Mr. Butts, you only heard 1 gunshot? Are you sure?
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm not so sure.
Eh?
Yeah, well, I might have missed the other gunshot. I was, listening to something else.
Probably the Nerdist podcast. He loves Chris Hardwick.
My radio, dude, on my headphones.
Wait, people still listen to radio?
Order! Order! And stop that booing! Mr. Butts, you were listening to a radio on earphones?
Yeah? So what? That's a crime? I listen to my radio. Everyone listens to the radio. What's the big deal?
Mr. Von Karma, your opinion?
Waste of time. I do not accept this witness nor his shoddy testimony.
Well, Mr. Wright, should he continue the testimony?
Your Honor, I believe it was Thomas Jefferson who said, "Listen to your butts."
Nothing is more pitiful than a lawyer who doesn't know when he's lost.
Very well, Mr. Butts. Please give your testimony, and be sure to include details like your radio.
Right. Leave it to me. It's lonely being alone on Christmas Eve, okay? That's why I was listening to an all-request show on the radio. I was listening to it real booming loud like. But I'm sure I heard that gunshot. I remember exactly what the DJ was saying when I heard it too.
You were listening to your radio at a high volume?
Yeah, what's the big problem? Can't a man listen to his radio in peace? Isn't this a free country?
Judge, can you believe a word this witness says? What he heard was probably nothing more than a drum beat from the radio.
True enough. It is difficult to believe this testimony.
It's difficult to believe a lot of stuff that happens in this courtroom, but Larry's testimony is not one of them. The witness said he remembers exactly what the DJ said.
Excuse me? DJ?
Yeah, you know, the guy who says things on the radio.
Do your homework in the dark.
Anyway, what this means is that when he heard the sound, no music was playing. The DJ only talks in between songs, so we could have heard the gunshot from the lake. Your Honor, I'd like to cross-examine the witness.
Very well, Mr. Wright.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Larry, I've only got one question for you. You said you heard the DJ, so what exactly did he say?
Objection! Mr. Wright, please cease these pointless questions. What good could knowing what the radio DJ said do us?
Indeed, Mr. Von Karma has a point. I'll allow the question only if you see some reason why we should care.
The Care Bears say we should always care.
Fine. Very well. Mr. Butts, please testify to the court. What was the radio announcer saying when you heard the gunshot?
Just when she said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas," I heard the gunshot.
Maya, hand me Lotta's deposition. Just as I thought. Larry, are you absolutely sure about this?
Huh? What's with the face? You look scary, dude. Hey, if you're trying to scare me, you better know I don't scare that easy.
Is something the matter, Mr. Wright?
Well, other than the fact that I seem to be the only person in this courtroom capable of putting 2 and 2 together, did you hear what the witness just said? The DJ said, "Hey, it's almost Christmas," when he heard the gunshot.
Indeed. And
almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas. Do you realize what this means? No, probably not. When Larry heard the gunshot, it was still Christmas Eve.
that would seem to be the case, yes.
But that contradicts the 2 testimonies we've heard so far, Your Honor. Both Miss Hart and the old man said it was after midnight when they heard the shots. In other words, when they heard the gunshots, it was already Christmas. This is a clear contradiction, Your Honor.
Order! Order! What does this mean? The two prior witnesses heard gunshots after midnight. However, this witness says he heard a gunshot before midnight.
Judge, the answer is simple. The current witness is plainly mistaken. Just look at him. Suspicious.
Wait, what?
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think about Mr. Butts' claim he heard the gunshot before midnight?
Larry's not mistaken, Your Honor. I bet Edgeworth's life on it, not mine. He heard that gunshot before midnight.
Intriguing. I'm assuming you have evidence for this wild claim. Show me evidence there was a gunshot before midnight.
How about a photograph? That good enough for you, Von Karma? This photo was taken by our witness, Miss Lotta Hart, using her automatic camera. Note the timestamp on the photo. December 24th, 11:50 p.m.
Oh, yeah? But there's nothing on the lake in this picture.
Your Honor, adoring fans in the courtroom and at home, the real issue here is not why nothing is shown in this photograph, it is why this photograph exists at all.
What do you mean?
Maybe if I speak slower. Your Honor, this photo was taken by an automatic camera. It was set up to respond to loud noises. Get it?
Aha!
Someone get that man a gold star, because the judge's brain is firing on all cylinders today. So to sum up, there was a loud noise on the lake at 11:50. That's why the photo was taken. In other words, when Larry heard the gunshot, it was still Christmas Eve, and this photo proves it.
Indeed, it would seem that is the case. Then, where does that leave us? Miss Hart testified that she heard the gunshots after midnight. Are you claiming she was mistaken?
Not at all, Your Honor, and I have the evidence to prove it. It's a fact that the camera also triggered at 15 minutes after midnight. Your Honor, that night, there were two sets of gunshots, with a 25-minute pause between them.
Why would this be?
Objection! Don't be fooled, Judge. That camera was set to respond to loud noises.
Yes?
There is no proof that the loud noise at 11:50 was a gunshot. Why, the witness could have sneezed, triggering the camera.
Well, Mr. Wright, there's no turning back now. Can you prove that the loud noise at 11:50 p.m. was indeed a gunshot? Please show the court evidence if you have any.
Glad to, Your Honor. This is my evidence.
The murder weapon?
Something about this pistol was bothering me, Your Honor. Both of the witnesses who testified yesterday heard two gunshots. However, the murder weapon was fired 3 times. When then was the last shot fired? Only now have I realized the truth. That third shot was the shot Larry heard just before midnight.
Order! Order! That would make sense of the evidence we've seen so far. However, this leaves me wondering exactly what did happen that night on the lake.
Exactly. If this is true, there were 2 sets of gunshots, separated by 25 minutes. One at 11:50, another at 15 minutes after midnight. Why, I ask you? Why?
Uh-oh, I better think of something quick. Time for a Phoenix Wright brain blast. Wait a second. Gunshots separated by 25 seconds. Maya, get your subliminal thoughts out of my head. Wait a minute. That's it.
What's wrong, Nick?
Nothing's wrong, baby doll. Everything's A-okay.
Huh?
Sorry for calling you baby doll. That was sexist and wrong. Remember that case with the steel samurai?
Yeah, of course I remember.
Well, the killer in this case had the same idea, if you catch my drift.
What do you mean?
No time to explain. Look, if we don't figure this out now, we'll never overturn Edgeworth's guilty verdict. I've got a hunch, and I'm gonna run with it.
Right! I mean, is this safe?
Safe? We've already gotten a guilty verdict. We've nothing to lose. Look, you just watch and let me know if I say anything fishy, okay?
Right, Nick!
Hands in the middle, team on 3. Or not, that would look silly, just the 2 of us.
Yes, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor, the testimony just now has cleared up this entire case. That's right, I said it.
What do you mean, Mr. Wright?
So, you finally realize the truth? There can be no other murderer here than Miles Edgeworth himself.
Wrong, Von Karma. A man was shot that night, but it wasn't Miles Edgeworth who did the shooting.
Listen, rookie. Take a deep breath and consider the facts. At the time of the murder, one boat was on that lake. This was shown by the witness's photograph. The defendant, Edgeworth, and the victim, Robert Hammond, were on that boat. There was a gunshot fired on that boat, and Robert Hammond fell into the lake. The distance of the shooting was 1 meter. It couldn't have been suicide. Well, the guilty party has to be the other man on that boat.
I admit, it is hard to imagine any other possibility.
Yes, Your Honor, but you're assuming that the victim was shot 15 minutes after midnight.
What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? We have photographic evidence of the time of the shooting. The timestamp on the photo says 0015.
But Larry heard a gunshot 25 minutes before that. Robert Hammond was killed then, 25 minutes before the shot on the lake. It's the only way that Edgeworth could be innocent.
Mr. Wright, are you quite mad? Explain who this is then, sitting on the boat.
Glad to, Von Karma. Anything to help your understanding. It was Edgeworth and the murderer. After the murderer killed Robert Hammond at 11:50, he assumed the guise of Mr. Hammond and went out to meet Edgeworth.
What? Are you serious?
Yes, Your Honor. Look, Edgeworth won't tell us why he went to Gourd Lake that night. However, I have a hunch. That night, Robert Hammond called Edgeworth to the lake. Now, Edgeworth didn't know Robert Hammond's face that well. That's why he didn't suspect anything when the real murderer took Robert Hammond's place.
I'm not sure what to make of all this.
Ludicrous!
Mr. Wright, tell us the name of the murderer then.
Your Honor, I can't just tell you now. We have to tease the next episode. Find out the murderer's name and a whole lot more next time on Ace Attorney.
I'm not sure what sound to make for ...